Hey everyone, it's vmcampos Comic Book Fan, and welcome to the weekly vmcampos Comic Book Club. This is the series where I review a comic book, new or old, and rate it on the factors of the cover art, interior art, plot, and enjoyability of the book on a scale of 1 to 5. And then I tell you to get it or shred it. For the audio version of the podcast, head over to your favorite podcast app, search vmcampos, and subscribe. This week I'm reading Dynamite, number 1, published in 2020 by Dynamite Entertainment. Now, spoiler alert, I will be going to the various pages of this book, but I will not be revealing the whole plot. You, of course, want to read this yourself. Check out your local comic shops, get the book yourself, support your local stores, support the creators and the companies that you enjoy. It's really worth it. And when you get this book at your comic shop, tell them vmcampos sent you. Alright, so a little bit of background information first. So Dynamite Entertainment published this comic which is capitalizing on the zombie comic book trend that we've had for a while. We had Marvel Zombies. There's been zombie comics before that, but let's talk about the big ones. So Marvel Zombies, back in 2005, Robert Kirkman, who worked on The Walking Dead, made a zombie world Marvel characters. Then a few years later, we had at DC Blackest Night. Well, DC is trying to do the zombie renaissance with their DCeased, which is doing very well, very enjoyable actually. And now Dynamite Entertainment is doing their own version of a zombie pandemic in their comics. And it's very interesting because it mixes together all of the characters that Dynamite currently has a hand in, which would include Vampirella, Red Sonja, John Carter of Mars, etc. So taking all of those characters, plus some very interesting revelations at the end of the book. So it's Dynamite's version of a zombie epic tale. If you're into zombie tales, then here's another zombie book to check out. Cover art. Okay, so I got the variant cover, second variant cover. This is by Arthur Soydum. Regular cover is by Lucio Perillo. This is Arthur Soydum, who did the zombie artwork for the original Marvel Zombies and also is doing more zombie covers for the various publishers. And here, Soydum is doing a zombie cover for Dynamite, one of the alternate covers. So I think this is an epic cover. We've got Vampirella emerging from the grave, her face skeleton, zombified, horrific, of course in her signature outfit, what little there is of it, and coming out from a tomb that says with a tombstone, "Rip, here lies Vampirella, cursed in life and the hereafter." And she's just coming at you, just horrific. This is an amazing cover, very faded out background to really focus on the foreground. This is a 5 out of 5. Vampirella's sickly pale skin with green tones, dried blood, horrific face. If you look at the details of that, it is very horrific. You see Soydum really created this terrible, scary look to this character that might be known for other assets. And this is a great cover. It's a 5 out of 5. It reminds me of the classic Spider-Man emerging from his grave in the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline from back in the 80s. But here we have zombified Vampirella, 5 out of 5. Interior art is not by Soydum. This is actually by the team of Vincenzo Caratu and Justin Mason as the artists, Kike J. Diaz as the colorist, and Hassan Otsmane El Hau as the letterer. So a big ensemble of interior art. The interior art is good. It does a great job of establishing the various characters, their particular designs show through very well. We go from Earth to Barsoom to a space vessel. We get all the characters introduced, Red Sonja in her Hyborian age and so forth. So the artist has to balance all of these time periods, all of these locations. Oh no, we've also got the Thunderbolt. So all of these various characters with their own styles and histories and so forth, and the artists do a good job. Speech bubbles are excellent, establishing shots, sound effects. It's great art here with a variety of characters and situations. It's another 5 out of 5. There's a great panel of John Carter landing in a town. After all, Barsoom, aka Mars, has a different gravitational quotient than our Earth, so he's able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And he's coming into the zombified town with an yeah! And then we've got cool panels and all of that. The space debris in Vampirella's part of the story really shows you the loneliness of space. And again, great characters, expressions, colors. There's a lot of these sort of like modern colors of purples and reds and pinks and magentas that are kind of en vogue at the moment that I like, contrasted with cool tones of blues and greens and so forth. So overall, the art is great. It's a 5 out of 5. The plot. Okay, so over on the plot, we've got Declan Shalvey and Fred Van Lent, who I know from the History of Comics comic book, as the writers. So a couple of writers in here, because it's a big task. This is a 5-issue series, so they have a lot of threads to weave together, both the writers together. And again, we jump all over the place, from Earth in an old folks' home, to Barsoom, aka Mars, to a space vessel heading to Draculon, homeworld of Vampirella, to the Hyborian Age with Red Sonja, to a monastery where the Thunderbolt is training. We just have such a huge variety, a huge amount of places. Little by little, we start to see a very uneasiness in the plots. By the cover, if you don't know what's happening, there's a zombie outbreak. So if you never saw the cover, it still does a good job of little by little revealing weird, uneasy feelings as the story progresses. And we start to see the zombies, the walking undead. So it's kind of a slow story, mostly because you have to introduce all the characters, all their worlds, all the plots. Not really too much about their motivations yet, I guess. You know, Red Sonja, as usual, is looking for treasure. John Carter's just hanging out on Mars. Thunderbolt is training. Vampirella, she's being escorted to Draculon. And the writers do a good job of bringing all of that together, their various stories, and I can't wait to see how it all coalesces in the whole 5-part series. You do get a sense of it's very rushed. Most characters get 1, 2, 3 pages, and then it moves on to the next one, and it jumps back and forth between the things. So it's a little disorienting in that way. And if you don't know much of the characters, you want to know more about them. Like I didn't know. I thought this was actually the, what do you call him? The Amazing Daredevil, that one old character, but it's Thunderbolt. I didn't really know that character. Dynamite has an interesting eclectic mix of licensed characters that they have. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. It is a tall order to keep so many various characters straight and various plot points and everything, and just bring it all together nicely. So they did a great job overall. We'll see where it continues. The enjoyability, therefore, is also a 4.5 out of 5. It's just can be a little disjointed in the variety of things that we need to process in the beginning issue. I do like the sense of dread that slowly creeps throughout these pages. I can't wait to see how all of the characters interact with each other, if they do. I only have issue 1 at the moment, but it was enjoyable overall to jump back and forth between different time periods, locations, characters, motivations, etc. The action, when we had action, was very good. There's some good emotion here and there, so pretty enjoyable as well. 4.5 out of 5. Should you get it or shred it? I'm going to say get it. If you're into the zombie genre, here you have some lesser known characters, although some have been around for a long time. Vampirella's been around 50 years. Red Sonja in writings has been around I think since the 30s, and of course Marvel's version since the 70s, and then IDW's version for years and years. So these characters have been around a while. We're getting a zombified take of it all. Get it for that. It's interesting. Shred it if you don't care about these characters, if you'd rather stick with the big superhero characters and all of that. But again, it's got zombies, and it's got a variety of different characters and a bunch of cool covers in Dynamite number 1. And so that's my review, but now it's your turn. Tell me about this comic. Have you read it? Are you going to read it? Have I convinced you to read it or not to read it? Tell me all about it in the comments. Have you read number 2? Are you waiting for the trade paperback? Let's chat about it. Tweet at me, twitter.com/vmcampos. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Maybe head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. Click that follow button. Follows are free on Patreon to be alerted to everything that I do about comic books, Magic the Gathering, and more. Every week I do YouTube Shorts, which are 1-minute long videos that keep you up to date with comics that are coming soon that you need to pre-order, or comics that are new this week. Check those out on my YouTube, 1 minute at a time. I also do a lot of long-form videos, top 10 lists, top 5 lists, these reviews every single week. I hope you check out the Patreon. If you can't pledge at the moment, no worries. Simply follow, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, battle the Minotaur, keep up to date with everything that I'm doing on YouTube. And tell me what you thought of this comic book. So this week I read Dynamite number 1, published in 2020 by Dynamite Entertainment. This has been the weekly VM Campos Comic Book Club, and I'll see you next week.